As the journey continues into this deeper phase, you begin to realize that what you are building is no longer just a channel, but a presence, something that exists beyond individual uploads, something that people recognize, remember, and return to. And this realization changes your mindset again, because now you are not thinking in terms of videos, you are thinking in terms of legacy, in terms of what your content represents over time, and how it shapes the perception of those who engage with it. As the journey moves into this next phase, something subtle yet powerful begins to change in the way you see everything. Not just your content, but the entire game itself. Because now you realize that success on YouTube, especially in the motivational space, is not about standing out for a moment, it is about staying relevant over time, and relevance is not maintained by repeating what once worked. It is sustained by understanding people at a deeper level than surface trends, by knowing what they feel before they even express it, and this awareness transforms you from a creator into an observer of human behavior. You begin to notice how the same message can hit differently depending on timing, tone, and context. How a simple line delivered with the right pause can carry more weight than a long explanation. And this sensitivity to nuance becomes one of your greatest strengths, allowing you to create content that feels sharper, more precise, more intentional. Because now you are not just speaking, you are communicating with purpose. At the same time, your relationship with growth changes again, because you no longer chase it in the same way. You don't obsess over every number or every fluctuation. Instead, you focus on the process, on refining your craft, on maintaining consistency. And this shift creates a sense of stability, because your progress is no longer tied to external validation alone. It is grounded in your own development. But even with this stability, new challenges emerge. Because as your content reaches more people, it also reaches more opinions, more criticism, more expectations, and learning to navigate this environment becomes essential. Understanding what feedback to absorb, what to ignore, and how to stay aligned with your vision without being pulled in too many directions. You also begin to see the importance of emotional intelligence in your work, recognizing that motivation is not just about pushing people forward, it is also about understanding when to slow them down, when to offer clarity instead of intensity, when to provide reassurance instead of pressure. And this balance makes your content more impactful because it feels more human. Your storytelling becomes even more refined. You start layering meaning into your words, allowing your content to operate on multiple levels, where someone can watch casually and feel motivated, or watch deeply and gain insight. And this depth increases the value of your videos, making them worth revisiting rather than just consuming once. At this stage, you also become more protective of your creative energy, realizing that not every idea needs to be executed. Not every trend needs to be followed, and that focusing on what truly aligns with your message is more important than trying to do everything, because focus is what allows you to maintain quality over time. You start thinking in terms of long-term impact again, asking yourself how your content will be perceived months or even years from now, whether it will still hold value, whether it will still resonate, and this perspective encourages you to create content that is not just timely, but timeless. And as this phase unfolds, you recognize that your journey is no longer just about building something for others. It is also about shaping yourself, about developing discipline, clarity, resilience, and a deeper understanding of both content and life, because the process itself becomes a form of growth. In the end, this stage teaches you that staying relevant is not about chasing attention, it is about continuously earning it through authenticity, awareness, and intentional growth. Because when your content reflects a genuine understanding of people and a commitment to your message, it naturally remains impactful, no matter how much the environment around you changes. You start to understand that consistency alone is no longer enough, that at this level, you must combine consistency with intention, making sure that every piece of content aligns with your larger vision, because without that alignment, even regular uploads can feel disconnected, and disconnected content rarely builds lasting influence. Your creative decisions become more deliberate. You begin to choose your topics more carefully, your words more precisely, your tone more thoughtfully, because now you are aware that every detail contributes to the overall experience, and that experience is what defines your identity as a creator. At the same time, you notice that your audience has become more than just viewers. They are now participants in your journey, people who engage with your ideas, reflect on your messages, and sometimes even apply what you share in their own lives. And this level of connection creates a sense of responsibility that goes beyond content creation. You also begin to see the importance of evolution in a new light, understanding that growth is not just about improving what you already do, but about expanding what you are capable of doing. exploring new formats, deeper topics, more complex ideas, and pushing your boundaries in ways that keep your content fresh and engaging. But with this expansion comes the challenge of maintaining balance, because as you try new things, there is always the risk of losing the core elements that made your content effective in the first place. And this is where awareness becomes critical, ensuring that while you evolve, you do not drift away from your original message. Your confidence continues to grow, but it becomes more grounded, less dependent on external validation, and more rooted in your understanding of the process, because you have seen how effort translates into results over time, and this gives you a sense of stability even when individual videos perform differently. You also begin to appreciate the value of patience at a deeper level, recognizing that meaningful growth cannot be rushed, that building something impactful takes time, and that every phase of the journey contributes to your development, even the slower ones. At this stage, your focus shifts from simply gaining attention to sustaining attention, understanding that keeping your audience engaged over time requires continuous effort, creativity, and authenticity. And this long-term thinking becomes a key part of your strategy. In the end, this phase teaches you that true success is not about how quickly you grow, but about how well you sustain that growth, how effectively you adapt to change, and how consistently you stay aligned with your purpose. Because it is this combination that allows you to build something that not only grows, but lasts.